We object to the fact that yet again assurances given by the Prime Minister to survivors when she met them have been broken. The survivors and residents who met with Theresa May on 3 separate occasions were led to believe that there would be consultation over who was going to lead the inquiry, and also that there would be consultation over the remit of the inquiry, and both those sets of assurances appear to have been broken. And given what has happened since the fire, and of course all that went on before, the trust of the community in the authorities is at 0. And unfortunately, this is yet another example of why trust is at 0.
Those are all process statements. What specifically are you objecting to about the judge and how he proposes to proceed?
Well, specifically, we don't necessarily think that his commercial law background is appropriate. He has also, he's very well known for the ruling that he made in favour of Westminster Council, allowing them to rehouse a resident in social housing in Milton Keynes, away from all of her family, her life basically. Okay, that ruling was subsequently overturned by the Supreme Court, but it was taken as a green light by many councils to continue with their attempts at what we describe as social cleansing. So in terms of that particular ruling, when the survivors and the wider community want housing and the whole attitude to social housing tenants to be considered as part of the remit of the inquiry, so that's problematic. That suggests that he has a particular view on these issues. And the remit that he has talked about, having been given already, which is to look at what was the cause of the fire and why it spread so rapidly in order to prevent it from happening again, is just inadequate for the scale of the disaster that we've experienced. Everything that led to the disaster being of the magnitude it was, all the decisions that were taken over the last however many years, all the pressures on the community, closing down amenities, selling them off to developers, the local library is going to be sold off to a private prep school, for example. I mean, you know, this is just more of the same, and we are saying enough is enough. We want all of these issues looked at, and the remit is just simply not wide enough.
Is there any truth in the fact that you object to the judge because he is white and middle class?
I don't believe that anybody from this campaign has said that. I think you're referring to David Lammy's comments, and I think he said upper class, to be fair. I think we would like somebody who actually lived in the real world to some extent. I know within the judiciary it's quite difficult to find people from what I would call ordinary backgrounds, but we think that somebody who comes from a less rarefied background, who with a different experience of life would be better suited for an inquiry of this kind.
Do you think this is helpful? I mean, you strike me as being white and middle class as well.
Yes, and?
Well, is it an issue? That's all I'm asking.
I live in the community. My children went to school in the community. Their friends are missing still from the tower. I think that's quite an offensive comment, actually.
Well, it's a statement of fact, isn't it?
But relating to what I said about the judge, who has got no connection whatsoever with the community, you're comparing apples and pears.